All right, let's dive in. Something really big is brewing in the world of Ethereum. And you know what? It's not about some fancy new code. It's about rent. Today, we're going to unpack this thing called the Fusaka upgrade and explore why it might just flip the entire concept of digital real estate on its head. So let's just get right to the heart of it with a simple question. Is Ethereum turning into a digital landlord? Seriously, hold on to that idea because it's the key. It's the lens through which we're going to understand everything that's at stake here. Okay, so to really get this whole landlord-tenant thing, we need to shift how we think about Ethereum. For just a minute, forget all the techie stuff, the code, all of that. Instead, I want you to picture Ethereum as this massive, sprawling digital city. And we're not talking about just any city. This is like the prime, most valuable real estate on the entire internet. So, every city needs a foundation, right? The ground it's built on. For our digital city, that's Ethereum itself, what we call Layer 1. This is the bedrock. It's what provides all the security, all the trust. It's the land. But here's the catch. Just like trying to buy a tiny plot of land in downtown Manhattan, using it directly can be, well, pretty slow and incredibly expensive. Okay, so if the ground floor is super pricey and a bit slow for your everyday coffee run, how does the city even function? How does it grow? Well, that's where the tenants come into the picture. They're the ones who are actually building on top of this land, making it a place where millions can live and work. So, who exactly are these tenants? We're not talking about a few people renting apartments. No, no. Think of them as these massive developers, these huge projects that are erecting incredible structures on Ethereum's foundation, and they're bringing in millions and millions of new residents to the city. In crypto speak, we call these tenants layer 2s, or L2s for short. And in our city analogy, they are the absolute skyscrapers. I mean, towering structures. They build on top of that secure Ethereum land, but they build up, offering all the things a city needs: apartments, offices, shops. They provide the space for faster, cheaper activity for all the city's inhabitants. And this really breaks down the difference, doesn't it? Down on layer 1, the ground floor, things are a bit slower. Definitely more expensive. You'd only go there for the really big, important stuff, like, filing the deed to your property. But for all the day-to-day stuff, the coffee, the shopping, the chatting, you head up to the layer 2 penthouse. It's way faster, way cheaper. And that right there is why these L2s are absolutely crucial for the city's future. All right, and this is where our story gets really interesting. This brings us to the main event, because there's a huge change coming to the lease agreement for all those skyscraper building tenants. It's a proposal called the Fusaka upgrade, and it's basically the landlord changing the terms of the lease. So what is it really? At its absolute core, the Fusaka upgrade can be summed up in one phrase. Ethereum is raising the rent on its layer 2s. Plain and simple. But what does raising the rent actually mean in the digital world? It's not like they're getting a bill in the mail. See, the Fusaka upgrade is a change deep inside Ethereum's code that tweaks the fee system. Here's the deal. L2s take all their fast, cheap transactions, bundle them up, and then post a little summary back down to the layer 1 land to make sure everything is super secure. This upgrade, it makes posting that summary more expensive. So yeah, the tenants now have to pay the landlord more for that rock-solid security guarantee. Okay, so the landlord is hiking the rent. You might think, ouch, that's rough for the tenants. And maybe it is. But the bigger question is, what does this do for the value of the city itself? What does it mean for the price of the land, which, in this world, is ETH? I mean, this is the multi-billion-dollar question, right? If you own a piece of this digital land, if you hold ETH, you're probably wondering, hey, is this rent hike going to make my investment worth more or less in the long run? To figure that out, we need to wrap our heads around this concept called value accrual. It sounds complicated, but it's not. In our city, it's super simple. When the city is booming, when those skyscrapers are full of people and businesses, the land underneath becomes more valuable. That's it. Value accrual is just the mechanism by which ETH, the land, soaks up all that economic energy from the city above. So, how exactly does this rent hike make ETH more valuable? Well, a few key ways. First off, and most obviously, it just brings more revenue directly into the Ethereum network. More rent, more income. Simple. It also makes ETH what we call a productive asset. It's not just some digital rock sitting there. It's actually generating cash flow. Third, it ensures that as the L2s explode in popularity, more of that economic energy gets captured by the base layer. The landlord gets a bigger piece of the pie.
And maybe most importantly, it aligns everybody's goals. Now, the more successful the L2 tenants are, the more valuable the L1 landlord becomes. Everyone wins when the city thrives.
When you put it all together, this upgrade really seems to cement Ethereum's role as the essential must-have landlord of this new digital world. But it leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to chew on. If Ethereum is the landlord and the layer 2s are the tenants, well, the tenants are the ones driving all the growth, building everything new and exciting. So in this decentralized world we're all trying to build, what's to stop today's tenants from becoming tomorrow's owners? And honestly, the answer to that question, that's probably going to define the entire next era for Ethereum.